another episode of Save the Track Bike presented by Hexagon Cycles. This is the first part of 2 episodes I'm releasing today. And on this one, we have an interview with the founder of Rad Race. We preview Fixed 42 and talk a little bit about the Tour de France. And then after that interview, I cover the crit that happened here in Colorado this last weekend, which was the Modern Market crit, which you might remember us having an interview with the organizer of that race. So, yeah, there's a lot to cover today, so I split it in 2 episodes. So, without further ado, let's just get into this.
My name is Ingo. I'm one of the founders of Rad Race. I live in Hamburg, Germany, and I'm doing Rad Race for almost 4 or 5 years now. We're in the 5th season after we started our race series 2014. So thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, of course. Thanks for coming on. So Fixed 42 is this weekend, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about, pretty much everyone I've had on this podcast talks about Fixed 42 being on their bucket list. It's on my bucket list. Definitely something I want to do, and definitely something that's wholly original. So where did the idea come from?
Yeah, thanks so much. It's nice to hear, of course, people saying nice things about your races. The story is pretty crazy. When we started Rad Race in 2013, we wanted to organize wild bicycle races, like not the usual shit that you have every weekend. And it's kind of dying out, to be honest. Like, you can go racing every other weekend in Germany. I guess it's pretty similar in Belgium or UK, anywhere else, pretty much. And it's there was a big hype in the 90s. And in the 90s, like, hundreds of riders showed up for criteria and all kinds of races, and 20,000 or 30,000 people showed up for the bigger road bike races that we have. But right now, racing in Germany means you're meeting in an industrial area somewhere, like on the ass of the world, and you're riding there with 20, 30, maybe 60 riders, and then that's it. And it's always the same music. Europe, the final countdown is playing, and it's like super boring music, super boring people, and yeah, there are not really prizes. The women, they don't get their own races. Not really women are showing up anymore, because why would they, right? They're racing with the 4 or 5 same women. They're racing every time. So we just thought, bike racing is like the most insane sport in the world. You're racing with like 60, 70K around the corner, and it's like super fast and spectacular. But why is it so shitty to watch? Why is it so shitty and boring to watch a bicycle race when you're standing on the side of the street, and then the sound goes like, and then that was the bike race, and you're like, okay, that was bike racing? Well, perfect. I waited here for 2 hours, then I saw them passing by, and it's not like in France when you have like the Tour de France and you see like hundreds and thousands of people going to see the Tour de France, and I witnessed that for the first time last year. And it's not really only about bicycle races, and the people and the famous riders. It's just like people standing there, then there are like cars throwing stuff to people, and just making people having a good time. And this is what we wanted to do. We wanted to create races that are more like a skateboard contest or like a surfboard contest, like where you can see stuff that's happening in front of your nose, where you can like hold on to the riders. I don't know, you're in the middle of something and you're not just like standing there. So we created fixed gear races because fixed gear races even seemed more spectacular to people in the outside world, because they see people without brakes racing. And then the Red Hook crit got really big in 2012, 13, 14, and it's even getting bigger right now. But then we started having our races. We do a race, it's called a Last Man Standing. Maybe you've heard of it. It's on an indoor kart track. And that's, of course, very, very great to see for spectators. But we also always wanted to crash a marathon, kind of what the Wolfpack Hustle guys are doing in Los Angeles, where they're showing up in the middle of the night at the marathon course of Los Angeles, and they're starting like 4 a.m. in the morning, crashing the course that is already set up with boundaries and stuff like that. But I mean, we wanted to do it legit and legal. So we always had the dream of having a marathon distance, crashing a marathon distance with fixed gear bikes. And then we were sitting down together with people that organize our hometown races here in Hamburg, the Cyclassics. More than 20,000 people are coming to that race. It's one of the biggest road bike races in the world. And we just asked them if we can host a Rad Race in their frame program, in their official program. So they said, yeah, you can do that. And we were like, okay, if we can do that, what can we do? They said, yeah, what about a sprint race? And we always wanted to do a legit sprint race too. So we're doing a Rad Race battle. That's also very spectacular for spectators. But then we said, hey, our big dream is organizing a race that goes 42 kilometers through the city, and not a criterium that's just running in circles. But we wanted to do a really road race for fixed gear. And they said, let's do that. And then we were like coming back from that meeting, and we were like super enthusiastic. And we said, hey, we need to call this, give it a name somehow, and get it out to people. So we're like, okay, the distance is 42 kilometers, so let's just call it Fixed 42. And then we were like, hey, where we come from, a guy from Münster in Germany, he invented a skateboard World Cup. So we were like, okay, fuck the UCI, fuck everything. We can do whatever we want. We just do a European Championships. And then we were like, all right, whatever. We just call it World Championships, just to piss some people off, and just to like, I don't know, just do what we want, because it's our own company. It's what we can do. It's our own invest. It's our own money. It's 100% Rad Race. It's 100% friends. It's no one else. It's just our thing. So we just called it Rad Race Fixed 42 World Championships, just to piss some people off. And within the past 5 years, we're doing this the 4th year now. It has increased from 350 riders to now 650 riders that registered for that race. And people seem to like that race. More and more people are coming from, I think, 30 nations from all over the planet. People from Indonesia, people from India, people from Asia, from America, from the UK, from everywhere. People are coming to that race, and it seems like we're doing something right, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole road race analogy as well, or not analogy, but comparison, like with it, it's the same in the U.S. You go to the criteriums, there's, again, I was at a criterium recently, and the playlist of the music is like Smash Mouth is coming on, and then
Exactly.
And then like all of this like weird music. You're just like, why is this happening right now? And then also it's funny because they were like, I was like, so when's registration going up, like in a pre-race thing, and it's like, oh well, nobody registers till the day of anyway. And then I'm like, well, not really if you're doing it right. I mean, because you look at Red Hook, you look at Mission Crit, you look at all the Rad races, and people are registering because they're hungry for something different. And,
exactly.
And I love that you guys are doing that. Like every event you guys do just looks so much fun, which I think that we got to remember that like racing and competition, like you can take it seriously, you can train, you can be fast, but at the end of the day, we're all on bicycles and we're all just humans. And
exactly.
It should be fun, even if it's highly competitive.
Yeah, and I mean, it's lots of stuff that you said has very, very deep thoughts in that, because we have thought about this a lot. And we have thought about this a lot also in terms of how professional do we want to play this? How professional is the whole fixed gear scene developing in that direction? Like, I mean, look at Ivan Cortina, who won the Retro Crit like in Milan or something a few months ago. He's like a pro rider. Like many people that win 100% of people that win a Retro Crit are pro racers, and they do nothing else but bicycle races. And then we thought, what are we doing with Rad Race? Because also at the Fixed 42, you will see the top riders winning that thing. But then on the other hand, it's like, let me just give you one example of this one guy, this French guy. His name is Louis, and he broke, like, I don't know, so many bones in his body in a horrible car crash. He lost a friend in that car crash while driving back from a road bike race. He was injured so bad, but he's training now for 12 months to get back on his bike and ride those goddamn 42K in Berlin. At the very end of the pack, at the very end of the field, we will be there with a car, with like the sweeping car. So just to make sure he has the 35K average speed minimum that he has to have to finish that race. But that's the story that Rad Race is. It's who gives a fuck about the people who win that race. They get the prizes, they get their Oakleys and their DT Swiss wheel set, and they get like a lot of great presents. And we have an own women race that is starting 8 minutes behind the men's race. We're trying to improve that. We're trying to make it bigger and better and blah, blah, blah. But for Rad Race, it's not really about the competition. And there is a competition. People want to compete. It's 650 riders registering for a fixed gear race. But what I think why are so many people registering for that? Because they can ride their own race if they want to. The streets in Berlin are like 12, 15 meters wide. You can ride your own race. You can ride in the peloton if you want to. If not, you can do it like Louis does, right in the very back of the field, and just finish that race. He will get off his bike. He will be super excited, and we will make sure he arrives safe and sound. The women get their own shot. I mean, I think this is what makes it so special, and this is what we want to achieve with Rad Race. Like, it's more about the fun than winning a race.
I think that definitely comes across too. So what should people expect if they're coming out to the race? Kind of paint a picture for the day and like what it looks like.
Yeah, what we always try to do with Rad Race is giving people a full weekend of not only racing but partying, drinking beer, having fun, sitting together and having a good time. So we teamed up with Saskia. She's a very enthusiastic fixed gear rider from the Netherlands, and she created Fixed Days a few years ago. And Fixed Days is like a fixed gear festival that's touring around Europe. They have been to the Netherlands, to the Germany, all over the place. And we teamed up with them to give people a full weekend of racing. So when they arrive on Friday, there's a pre-party. They can drink so much, and then they have a full day to recover on Saturday. There's all kinds of sprint races, of picking up your starter kit on Saturday, having a good time at the registration. There's group rides for people coming to Berlin. They can just chill there where we're giving out the starter kits. There's a cool, the place is called Backyard, and it really is a backyard where you can just chill and have a good time, eat something, whatever. You can just enjoy your time, having a good time. And then on Sunday, the race starts at 2, so there's enough time to get in the train in Berlin, to pack your small bag, get on the train to Ludwigsfelde. That's around 40K in front of the doors of Berlin. And then as soon as the race starts, you can just give us your little bag, and we will transport your little bag to the finish line, where you can pick it up from our rider's bus. And then there's going to be a big award ceremony right at Brandenburger Tor in Berlin, like in the middle of that great city. So, like I said, what we always try to do is give people not only an hour of that race. I know it's on the bucket list of many people, riding over a German Autobahn with 50K, 60K, 70K. The fastest riders had an average speed of 50K kilometers per hour. You can translate that to miles. But like I said, we're trying to give people a full weekend of good times.
Is there going to be a live stream this year?
Yes, it's going to be a live stream on Facebook, and there's going to be a live where we're having the men's race transported live on Facebook on Rad Race, Facebook Rad Race. And there's going to be a second live stream with a second camera that is going to be on Rad Race Instagram that is giving you the women's peloton. We have paid a lot within the last 2-3 years for more professional live streams. To be honest, we needed that money in other areas, and it's very, very expensive. And as I have seen the big video screens at Red Hook Crit Brooklyn, they also were gone. So it's a lot of money and invest to bring you a proper live stream. But to be 100% honest, we will try to be in HD on Facebook for the men's race and on Instagram for the women's race. People can choose. You can watch the race on 2 screens. We will follow the leaders. We will stick to the breakaway if there is one, so people have an idea of what's happening. And there will be 2 cameras on 2 motos in the field.
For sure. Yeah, I'm always just curious because, like, even if it's like, I honestly want to do Fix 42 less to like race, but just for the experience, and that's what racing is for me. It's like I'm more so racing myself, but I do love like watching the races when I can't make it to them and getting the stories of the people who are in them. Hence why I have this podcast. So even if it's a live stream on Instagram or Facebook, I love it.
Yeah. It's gonna be shitty. It's not gonna be what you can expect from a Tour de France thing. We got a awesome support from GoPro this year. So once the race is over, we already have we will edit some footage for GCN, for the GCN channel, because they will report from that race on Monday in their show.
That's great news.
Yeah, it seems like they did the same thing for the Last Man Standing, and in Berlin that we did in March. And of course we're getting more and more coverage. And I think what GCN also needs is like pictures from and images from like spectacular races, because they always also have the same stuff on every other weekend. So if we're coming up with 650 people riding fixed gear in Berlin, with they riding faster than the pros last year, I think that's a story too. So they will report from the whole race with our GoPro footage on Monday, and from the footage that we record with a second cameraman. So there's going to be more and more footage from that race on Monday. If you want that footage for your race, I can also send you a download link. You can do whatever you want with that. I'll put it on your website or whatever. And the live stream will be shitty. It will be with iPhones, but at least it's going to be live, and we're just trying to do our thing, and we would love to have a legit broadcast. That's our biggest dream, to have that. But I mean, we're just starting. We're just in year 5, so let's do this again in 5 years, and then we see where we are.
For sure. And at some point, probably in the next 5 years, live stream will be so easy and so high quality that it won't be as expensive.
Exactly.
What's next for Rad Race after Fix 42?
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, we were finding ourselves within the last 5 years, and I think we found ourselves pretty good to do not only fixed gear races, because that's what Red Hook does. That's what Red Hook does perfectly. If you ask me, people are not coming up with new stuff. So I love what Mission Crit does. I love what Thunder Crit does. I love what the Dutch NL Crit series does. But to be 100% honest, Josh, they are all doing the same thing. I mean, it's not something new. That's still people riding around in circles, and that's still nothing new. So I'm not saying we're doing anything better. I'm just saying this year we didn't do a fixed crit, because we thought, hey, there's so many great fixed crits out there. Now we started this 5 years ago in Germany, and we have the DJ, the music, maybe a host that's not talking always the same thing that the usual other people are telling other riders. We have we're doing stuff that now everyone else does. So this is why we came up with new formats. And another new format that we came up with is the Rad Race Tour de France. And the Rad Race Tour de France is not with friends for friends, like my body's not for friends for that country. So the info is on our website. The Tour de France is a ride for 500 riders from Munich to Venice. You can ride on any bike you want. It's a stage race. It's a stage ride, however you want to call it, with 4 stages from Munich to Austria, from Austria to Italy, then 2 stages in Italy. And you're meeting every night on a square in Italy, in Austria, where we're just celebrating a big block party on the streets in the summer with 500 riders. And you can ride with fixed gear, you can ride with your cyclocross bike, you can ride with your road bike, you can ride with your mountain bike. It doesn't really matter. What matters is that you finish that race. And it's not, we call it a race, but it's not really one. And we did it last year for 400 riders. This year, almost 500 signed up. We will do this again in September. People can still sign up if they want. And we will do another Tour de France in 2019. And also that's going from Germany through Austria to Switzerland with 5 stages over the Stelvio in Italy. We're working on that. We're testing that route in 4 weeks. And then right now we're planning to have a Tour de France in Colombia in 2019 or 20. And we want to do more of those races, more of those rides, stage races, because I think this is what people want. They don't really want to travel through whole Europe for 30, 40 minutes of racing. And if you're not fast enough, you're going to get overlapped and then that's it. And that was your racing time. But I think everyone wants to have their good times. So the Tour de France is something new for us that we want to build on. And we still want to have the fixed 42. We still want to do the last man standing. But we rather do 5 or 6 great events than 20 shitty ones. So we're trying to do our thing and trying to improve the races and to give people a good time. We have around 2,000 people riding our races in 2018. And when we do another Tour de France in next year in 2019, we're hoping to even have races for even more people.
The thing that you guys are doing is very similar to what I see in like endurance running or like in gravel racing in the US.
Yes,
where
yes.
It's a challenge for yourself to finish something and to do something that is competing with yourself. And there can be people at the front that are competing with each other. And then there can be people in the middle or at the back that are competing with themselves. And that way it's welcoming to everyone. And it's just a challenge rather than just being out there and, like I'm never going to win like a Red Hook crit, but I could go to a fixed 42 and I can definitely finish the race.
Yes. And I'm not saying anyone is doing anything not as good as anyone. But I think people are seeing the development, and this is why Trimble is changing the formats all the time. And in my opinion, this is why he's changing the format in that direction, that people are racing more, that everyone races 2 races, that everyone is not out of the qualifying race. If he's not good enough or she to have a fast lap, a hot lap that brings you into the finals, then you're getting smashed in the last chance race. Maybe that was good for the time, but now I think it's great that he created more racing time for everyone. And this is what I think needs to happen. I've seen A and B races in Germany coming up now. I think this is why people are showing up, and people are not showing up to get destroyed and be out of that race after 10 minutes. But I think people need a program if they're coming to Berlin, for example, for that race. And if I would be there from Indonesia in Berlin and I traveled like 36 hours to be on the starting line, I mean, what happens if you're having a flat on the starting line? I mean, what happens then? I can tell you what happens in our race. We will get this guy from Indonesia. We will put him in our sweeper car. It's a big bus now with music, with Beck's beer, and he's just sitting there. He will maybe cry a little bit, but he will be drunk once he's arriving at the finish line. He's crossing the finish line. And we still are trying to give him a good time. And maybe he already celebrated on Friday at the pre-party. Maybe he enjoyed the fixed days a little bit. And then he's like, the racing part was just a small part of the whole thing. So he can go back and still tell people I was there, and he will be back pretty sure to finish it. But you know what I mean. It's like so much can happen while you're racing. You can crash, you can have a flat, you can have a technical, but still we want people to just be there for a reason. And this is not only racing; it's about having fun.
Absolutely. I think that's a good place to end it. So,
yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we head out?
No, thank you. Just thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. And like I said, I love what you're doing. I love when people really do it themselves. I mean, DIY has become such a phrase. I'm part of punk rock and hardcore music, like back in the day. And I've seen it. I've seen people come and go and talk so much and never do something. And for me, it doesn't really matter if you start your own backyard race, if you start your own podcast or fanzine or magazine or crew, or just go out and ride. I mean, if you don't do that and you just talk, nothing happens. So just go out and do something, and this is why I think it's so great you're doing this. So thanks for giving us a platform, making this a little bit better. And I hope to see you in Munich then for the Tour de France.
Yeah, that'd be really fun. I need to figure out a way to do that.
Yeah.
All right. Where can people find you on the internet?
Yeah, it's on the whole race series. It's on rad-race.com, radrace.com. This is the easiest way to find about the race series.
Cool. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Who are you?
I'm Adam Poshan. I'm racing fixed gear today. Should be pretty good.
Are you stoked about it?
Yeah, man. It's good to see fixed racing being taken seriously by bigger officials and the man.
I'm Danny, and I just love riding bikes. You know, I'm from New York. Yeah, man, I just love riding fixed gear, and I'm glad to be out here with all the friends out here, you know?
Also, Danny always has a smile on his face. He rides, too. Yes. Every time Danny rides, he just has a smile on his face.
Like right now, I'm super nervous.
Yeah.
You know, I'm under pressure right now.
Is this your first fixed crit?
Sanctioned first fixed crit. So, yeah. Super fun, super excited.
Dude, you're going to kill it.
Hello. Hi, Isaac. How are you?
My name's Joe Kufal. I'm from Boulder, Colorado, and I'm really ready to race some single speeds.
Nice. Where are we at right now?
We are at the Modern Market Crit Intergalactic Single Speeds about to start.
Are you stoked?
I am so stoked.
Just watching everybody set up their bikes, get their kits ready. Out here with the Sunday Strong guys. Everybody say what's up. Who's stoked?
We are stoked.
You can feel that the crowd out here is. There's a big fixed gear category shaping up. We got some state bicycle guys. Josh Tyrell is out here. We got Scott Piercefield out here. We got the Sunday Strong guys from Denver. We got some people doing their first fixed gear crit. It's a very mixed field. It's going to be really exciting. Let me paint a picture for you. We're out here. It's like at this fairgrounds in the middle of like fields. You can't really see like any other buildings. You just got grass. It almost looks like we're out in a prairie. And then there's this like go-kart looking track. There's one hairpin, 7 turns. We got an uphill around the back part of the course. It's downhill. So that's where the race is going to get super fast. Now people got to sprint up the hill, up into the hairpin. So yeah, it's going to be an exciting race. The nerves are going. I can feel it. I'm feeling nervous. I don't even know why. It looks like they're about to be staging the fixed gear race. So we're heading down that way. Scott, do you have anything to say?
Yes, I'm incredibly stoked to be racing in Colorado, a fixed gear crit, not having to travel and get sick like I do every time. And I think that there's a lot of fixie dudes that are really missing out in Colorado that I'm hoping are going to make maybe the next one if we have one at Velorama. It'll be incredibly important for all of us to come together and race it, because if we don't get the numbers out here, they're going to stop having these races for us. They'll have a beach cruiser ride instead of us because they'll get 10 more people.
Yeah.
Josh, are you stoked?
I am very stoked. This is gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fast, furious. You know, quarter mile at a time, right?
Yeah. How are you feeling about the altitude?
What altitude?
Who are you?
Jeff Luce.
What are you doing? Where are you visiting from?
I come from Dallas, Texas.
How do you feel about coming out to Colorado and race, and why should people get out here and do this thing?
I was tired of losing in Dallas, so I decided to come up here and lose in Colorado. There's a huge cycling culture, as everybody knows, but this course is dope. Like, great course, great fans, great support, perfect day. You can't beat it.
Cool. I'll catch up with you after the race. Good luck.
Yeah. It's gonna be about 40 minutes.
Can I get a code from you? I'm Josh. I have a podcast called Save the Track Bike. And who are you?
My name is Andrew. I'm the recent addition to the team.
Are you stoked about this race?
Super stoked. This is my first fixed crit in Colorado. And I'm looking forward to having a good time.
Sweet. We'll catch up with you after the race. Good luck.
Thank you.
Try 37.
They're not pulling.
When you race fixed, you get to age up 30 years. Yeah, exactly. Women's 40 plus.
All right, there's the
3 in reverse order. Third place today in our women's
leaders are about to come around that corner.
Strong's not all right.
Oh, you got
Second
Scott
place
Piercefield
with
in
the
the front.
Andy
Jonathan Kavner.
And taking the win in your
Hold on
40 plus
second.
women's category, Julie Germain is your champion.
That's the sounds of your leaders passing by. Here comes the chase group. I would say there's probably about 20 seconds on the chase group. You guys ready to watch this sprint?
Here we go. Piercefield's made the jump. Let's see if he can hold it. Piercefield's going. Here comes Kavner. Kavner's got him in the crosshairs right now. Kavner's in the draft. Here comes Kavner trying to come around. Piercefield's punching it right now. He's going to get the corner first. Man, I got to tell you, I pulled a couple buses. This is your third place right here. Third place goes to state. Well done.
Josh Tyrell pulled
Josh Tyrell played his cards properly.
Andrew Geffner,
Good
fourth
job
place.
by
Adam
Prashad. He didn't wonder how much he could do there. 1 against 2 with one of her teammates up the road. It's not like he could go take off. He just would have taken those guys with him. Good racing, guys. Whoa. Damn. I guarantee I blew a muscle watching that. Holy smokes, man.
State bicycle team.
Oh, to be young again.
No problem.
Good job, guys. That was good racing. I'd say Piercefield earned it.
Yeah,
I like Kavner's move.
That was freaking awesome.
But, man, oh, man, just didn't have it to get there. Whoa.
Oh, that was painful. It was so much fun, though.
How was the course?
Perfect.
It was surprisingly not technical for having the hairpin. It was a fast course.
Yeah.
I don't think I dropped out of the red for basically the whole race.
Nice.
It was fun.
Noah, you're coming back from an injury. How did it feel to finish the race?
Hey guys, that's all I could hope for today, man. Was just come out here, finish the race, and have a good time. Wasn't looking for a win, but just wanted to have fun.
Hell yeah. That's the spirit. I had fun watching you guys.
It was a blast.
I would have had more fun racing with you guys. Getting lapped.
There's always next time, man.
You're out there. So
Josh Tyrell, how do you feel?
I feel great, man.
Give you your first call of staging.
What place did you get?
I got third, and the elevation was all right.
Did you feel it more this time?
I couldn't hold my upper end as long.
Okay.
Yeah, so like that lactic build came way faster than it normally would, but it was good.
Third place, man. Third place. How about Scott?
Yes, Vinny.
My name's Scott.
How do the legs feel? What glasses are you wearing?
The legs felt awesome. That was I was in a break with a very talented individual. He just won the Tour of Gila.
Yeah.
So.
And he just won the 40 plus the same way.
Yeah, and another
two-man
race the
break.
same day.
How did that feel?
Oh man, it was easier the second time, but it was still hard.
Yeah. So you guys had a two-man break. What was the gap? Do you know yet? I think it was like 25 seconds.
It kept going up and down.
We were playing games for a while, and
we got comfortable for a bit.
Yeah.
I think you wanted me taking the technical areas, and then you handled the straights.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I can get down pretty low, so it's not too bad going into the headwind.
Yeah, I was basically drafting behind a speck of dust. No, it worked. It worked very well.
That's too funny.
Oh, that was really fun to watch. That sprint was rad, man.
We're actually teammates on the road.
Yeah.
So.
So there was some collusion.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Exclusive.
Exclusive collusion.
Adam,
What's going on, man?
dude,
It was a hell of a race today.
you were up there.
Yeah, I was pretty surprised with myself.
Hey, you rounded out 5th place?
Yeah. 5th place behind 3 pros and a national however many times champion. So, it was a good day.
Dude, you killed it, man.
Yeah, thanks, man.
What bike you riding?
Riding an Argon today.
Who's your glasses sponsor? What are you wearing?
Ooh, man. I don't know if I can disclose that information. It's kind of confidential right now, but I can tell you the glasses start with an S.
I think that you can come to the Intergalactic Single Speed Championships and you can win some seriously awesome swag.
Nerf guns, some beer.
Everything from outer space. Everything from outer space that you could possibly need to dominate besides your fixie gear bike.
Yeah. This was a good race.
I'm glad you liked it. We had a great time. We really want to thank everybody for coming out. We were awesomely, amazingly, over-the-top happy to undefeat. I'm looking at his bike over there. We were really over-the-top thrilled to host this race this year, and we're thrilled that everybody's supporting it. And we're going to do it again next year, and we would love it if we could get 50 guys and girls mixed together in the Intergalactic Single Speed Championships in 2019.
Yeah.
I'm solid.
How you feeling, man?
Dude, tired. I gotta come up here and get used to this elevation.
Yeah. That elevation is no joke.
Yeah. Like Texas, we have heat. They have elevation here, so
yeah.
Whew, that's probably the fastest I've ever ridden, like ever. So I'm gonna frame that, put it up on the wall. I don't know. I probably got 6th or 7th, but I'm pretty proud of it.
Oh yeah. Say your name again.
Jeff Luce.
Dude, killed it.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
All right. So the race got going, and pretty much like within the first few laps, there was a 2-man break with John Kavner and Scott Piercefield, and they held that break pretty much through the whole race and ended up getting a huge gap on the chase group, which had Josh Tyrell, Andrew from State Bicycle Team, and Adam Pichon, who's a local guy. They pretty much got, I think, about a 30-second gap by the end of the race. It was pretty crazy, and then they went all the way through. The chase group never really closed that gap. Scott was just on his game, and this Jonathan Kavner guy earlier in the race did pretty much the same thing in the 40-plus Masters road race, which he was in a 2-man break through the whole thing, had a huge gap on the chase, and then, yeah, in the fixed gear race, it was him and Scott Piercefield doing the same thing. We come into the last corner, and they are booking it. They come into that last corner, they sprint to the finish line, and Scott just pulls it, and John Kavner is like right on his wheel. So it was a really exciting race. If you want to see a video recap, go to SaveTheTrackBike.com. It's the first YouTube link right there. So click on it, watch it, share it with your friends. And next year, let's get more people to come out to the Modern Market Crit. All right, that does it for another episode of Save the Track Bike, sponsored by Hexagon Cycles. That's hexagoncycles.com. If you want to support the podcast, go buy something on the website. Use the code STTB. You can also go to iTunes, leave us a review. Follow us on Instagram at Save the Track Bike. Go to fixgearcrit.com. The music is Slag Girl by Vitamin Pets. And just thank you all so much for supporting the podcast. And yeah, we'll see you next time.